Hello, 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 everybody. It's your girl Ashley, the amateur expert, coming to you live for April's first Talk Tuesday. Hope you guys are ready for a good show. Going to be interviewing Shakisha Morgan, and she is a real estate, I'm sorry, not real estate, she is an estate planner. She's a lawyer, and she's got a breadth of knowledge that she's going to share with us. So I'm going to invite her in the room, and we're going to get started.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, Ashley. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Of course.
So, if you could please introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do currently for work.
Sure. All right. So, first thing is my new identity. I'm a new mom. And I'm saying
Congratulations.
that because thank you. As I told Ashley, this is like new mom spittle over here. All right.
You're
My
rocking it
da
well, girl.
my daughter had her 2 month shot today, so she was just a
Of
little fussier than normal. So she wanted to be with mommy. So in between
course.
client calls, we were right there. Hey, Tonisha. Hey, girl. So for those who don't know, I'm an estate planning attorney, which means that I am someone who helps people create a legacy. So I help people make sure that if they become incapacitated, they're not left out in the dark. So people have powers of attorneys in place to make sure that they're very well taken care of. And then I also help people create wills and trusts to make sure that they are passing on the legacy that they're creating here, because it's not a legacy if it is not multi-generational. That's how I feel. So that's what I do by day and night. I'm a new mom. I'm a steward at my church, so
Amen.
Kingdom Fellowship AME Church. And other than that, I'm a very loud friend who likes to laugh a lot. I like to hike. Don't make fun of me, but I like to
Oh,
hike
I
a
like
lot.
hiking too. Not long hikes, but I do like hikes. And it's funny because we got connected long before, or I should say, I was first introduced to you through a mutual friend, Takia,
Yes.
who I was super, I don't know, like I felt like encouraged to have a friend like you, I will say. We were at her PhD graduation, and you and the girls had gotten together and gotten her, I think it was LLC. And I was just like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, like what great friends. And then fast forward maybe a year and a half later, we sat next to each other at Woman Evolve, and I was like, I feel like I know you.
It's like destiny. It's like destiny.
So
Yes.
amazing. And so you also have a podcast.
Yes, I do. Oh my God. Christina's going to kill me for forgetting.
Plug, plug,
Yes.
plug.
So I'm the co-host of the Mary and Martha podcast. We like to call ourselves the Blackest Christian podcasts around, because we're just regular girls who love the Lord, and we just be talking about how good He is and how it applies every day. That's just what we do.
I love it.
So yeah,
And so tell me this, when you were a little girl, what did you want to be when you grew up, and why?
I wanted to be a veterinarian because I love dogs.
Mhm.
That's what I wanted to be growing up. And I ended up becoming an estate planner. Now, I will say, in high school, I took this class called Practical Law class, and I think it was taught by a law school student. And so I was bamboozled in
Ah,
high school to become a lawyer, because I was like, wow, the law touches everything. It's so great. I really should become a lawyer. And so instead of being a vet, I am now an estate planning attorney.
so is
Ta-da.
that the point where it changed for you?
Yes. Yep. It
Okay,
was high
so
school
from
when I
then
took
you
the
thought that
practical
you
law
were
class.
okay. And so what did you think success was when you were thinking you were going to be a vet?
When I was thinking I was going to be a vet, I thought success was entrepreneurship, because I both of my parents are entrepreneurs. My mom is a caterer. My dad runs multiple businesses, and they both own real estate. And so what I saw from them was entrepreneurship. So I said, okay, I'm going to be a vet. I'm going to own my veterinarian clinic. I'm going to participate in the community. I'm going to have 8 kids, white picket fence, all that kind of wonderful stuff.
Love it.
That's what I thought success was back then. Not thinking that success could be expanded to be so much more than
Right.
just what you do and how you do it. So, like most young people, I was like, okay, success means I got money in the bank.
Absolutely. And so can you take us just a little bit on your journey from so the high school class to I'm an estate planner?
Right. So okay, I'm gonna skip past the boring stuff.
So
So
whatever you
when I
got.
le- when I left high school, I went to Stanford, I went to Georgetown Law. So I went all the way to California for college, and then I ran all the way back home for law school
Okay.
because I was like, well, if I'm gonna go through the pain that's law school, I need to be near my family, and all of my
That's a good
family
point.
is local to the DMV. I was living with my parents. That quickly ended
Mm.
because once you become an adult and you've already lived outside of the house
Mm-hmm.
and you move back into the house,
Mm-hmm.
it's a whole nother ball game. So that
Right.
lasted about a year.
Okay.
Um, and then, so when I joined the legal field, which I was just talking with my friends today, it's been a decade since I've been in the legal field, which I'm just like,
Wow.
when did that happen? But when
That's
I first
crazy.
joined the legal field, I did this very exciting thing called insurance defense litigation. I don't know
Hmm.
if you know anything about insurance, but obviously it's the most exciting thing that you could possibly do with your life.
Huh.
And I very quickly got bored making money for these insurance companies.
Mm.
Uh, they don't love us, y'all. I know, I was in there. They don't love us. And at that time, there was a lot going on with Black Lives Matter and
Mm.
everything like that. And I said, I went to law school to do something to help people. And I'm sitting here and I'm defending these companies, and I don't feel
Mm.
good about it.
Right.
I was also the only Black associate and the only female associate at my law firm, and that got tired very quickly.
I can
And
understand that.
so I left and I was on my own. I did a project with a think tank for criminal justice reform.
Cool.
Um, I started to just like network. And then when I was at brunch for my godson's baptism, my current boss happened to walk past me and was
What?
like, "Hey, Shakisha, what are you doing with your life?" And I was like, "Oh, girl, just writing out here, doing these testimonies." She was like, "Let's go to lunch." And we sat down and we both talked about how we wanted to see Black wealth transform in our community
I love it.
and be able to do those things. And she was like, you should really think strong and hard about doing estate planning. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And so I did like a 3 month stint at her law firm,
Okay.
and almost 3 years later, here I am. That's how I became an estate planner.
Wow. And you briefly mentioned it, but just in case people are unsure, um, what is the importance of maybe someone reaching out to you? Like what services would you be able to provide or someone in your field?
Well, so it doesn't have to be me. I'm a big advocate of going where you need to go to get it done. But as a general sort of matter, here's a skinny that they don't tell us. And when I say us, I mean people of color.
Yes.
I mean women, because in my field, the legal field, it is run by mostly white men.
Okay.
And unfortunately, what that means is that the people who are fashioning the law, the people who are advocating for things in the law, the people who are defending the law mostly do not look like the
Mm-hmm.
marginalized people in society. But the people who are most affected by the law
Correct.
are those of us who fall in those marginalized communities. And so when you think about estate planning, most people, especially millennials, have no idea what estate planning is about,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know how it affects them. But if you are 18 and you are breathing, you're watching this live right now, you know someone who's breathing and they're above the age of 18, the lack of estate planning is going to affect them. So it's
Mm.
one of the reasons why my firm is still working, because we're essential services. We work with people whose family members have passed or
Got it.
people who are preparing to, every one of us is going to transition at some point. So if you have not set up documents to make sure that if you become incapacitated, somebody can make sure that your bills are paid, that you receive good medical care. Hello, Black women and Black
Mm-hmm.
maternity health and all that, making sure that somebody's advocating on your behalf and has the
Right.
legal authority to do so and turn up in the hospital if they need to.
Right.
That's what powers of attorneys are for.
Yeah.
And then when we all transition out of this world, what have you written down? Who gets your stuff, boo? Like who's getting your clothes? You could donate to wonderful
Mm.
charities. You could give to nieces and nephews, godchildren. Everybody does not have family that they want to take all of their stuff.
Right. Right.
Some
Right.
people are unmarried. They just have long-term partners. Your partner is not going to get anything if they're not
Mm.
legally tied to you.
That's a good
Make
point.
sure that your will says the person who loves you and supports you the most has the ability to advocate on your behalf, operate on your behalf, and receive anything that you'd like to give them. That's what
And
estate planning is.
I know you're doing a workshop or a something soon.
Yes. So on April 25th,
Okay.
I am going to be doing a virtual. So I started this thing called Millennial Wealth Building Workshops. And it's because I saw that millennials did not know what was going on in this field. And so I wanted to give hey, listen, I didn't I didn't know until I studied it myself. It's okay.
Okay.
I Estates and trust in law school looked super boring. I was like, oh,
Okay.
what does
That
that have to
makes
do with me? Nothing. Wrong. Everything. And
everything.
so,
Right.
so I started this Millennial Wealth Building Workshop, and we wanted to make it an annual event because my boss was like, "Oh wow, look at all these millennials! You guys really do care." And I was like, "Yeah, girl, we want to know too." And so this year, given the pandemic and everything like that, it's a little tight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really trying to see nobody. I got a 2-month-old. I'm not trying to bring
Correct.
nothing home.
Mm-mm.
And so we're going to do it virtually on April 25th, which is a great thing because that means that everybody who wants to come can attend. And then my goal is to connect people with attorneys in their jurisdiction who can
Okay.
help them to establish their estate plans. I'm sorry, I'm a talker with my hand.
No,
My
it's good. It's good. It's good. So we'll definitely make sure that information is in the show notes. So now that you are a mom and you are estate planning, and you are, well established in your career, what is your idea of success?
Now my measure of success is my measure of impact. So if what I'm doing stops at the person that I'm doing it with, then I'm not being successful. And so what that means is there are different things that I do. So if you looked at my resume and all the things that I do, you'd be like, what is the goal here? The goal here is that whoever I impact should be empowered to impact somebody else.
Mm, that's
So
good.
what that means is I'm an adjunct professor at UDC, which is the only historically Black law school in the District of Columbia. And so what that means is when I'm teaching my students, they can now go out and do something. So I feel like that's successful because I'm impacting them to
Mm-hmm.
impact others. When I do estate planning, and I am educating people on what they're doing, then what I'm doing to impact them, they can go out and tell somebody else, hey, this is what we need to be doing. When I'm doing ministry, when I'm doing my podcast, Mary and Martha podcast, our hope is to inspire people to be the best of themselves so they can go out and impact other people. So for me, success says what I'm doing and who I'm doing it with doesn't end with that person,
Yeah.
but it has an exponential effect, an exponentially positive effect on the community that I love, which is women, which is Black people, which is Black women. My life has been saved multiple times over by Black women, so
Listen,
I
listen.
got to give back.
Thank you for that. So tell me, what's something that you've learned or that you're in the process of learning that you wish you had learned earlier on in your career?
To slow down.
Tell me what you mean by that.
So I'm Jamaican,
Mm,
and I have about 4 or 5 jobs right now. And having a child, when my child wants attention, she does not want that attention to be divided by anything.
okay.
She don't want no phone out. She don't want you paying attention to nobody else. And so first it was my plants that was teaching me to like pay attention, but
Okay.
my daughter is teaching me to slow down
Okay.
and to fine tune what I'm doing. So
Mm,
that means I don't need to have my hand in multiple pots. It means that if I have my hand in 1 or 2 pots and do those things exceptionally well, then I'm being successful as opposed to being a jack of all trades. I want to be the queen of like 1 or 2. So
okay, I
that's
like
what I'm
that.
learning at this point in life is to slow down and fine tune.
I like that. And so, what are some of the tips and motivators? I've had a few friends that have gone through law school, and I know that it is a grueling process. And I know that you draw on your faith. I'm certain that you draw on your faith. But what are some other tips or motivators that you used along your journey?
So one of the things so I'm a morning person, so I don't know if this is going to work for the night owls. Maybe you just like flip it if you want to, but I have time for myself every day. Now, as a
Mm,
morning person, that means that in my house, I can wake up at 5:30 and I can have a cup of tea. I can water my plants. I can read one chapter in a book. I can do those sort of things. So one of the things that I would recommend to everybody is to find time for yourself. And I think given this pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
You're realizing that you have to spend a whole lot of time with yourself. So if you don't like the person that you've become, you realize that you got some work to do in order to learn to love that person more. Because one of the things that I've realized is that when it comes to love, I'm married. Even when it comes to my relationships with my family, with my friends, if I'm not happy with who I am, I'm not able to give to other people. So I recommend to everybody just to learn how to spend time with yourself. You and you, me, myself, and I, is what Beyonce said. And you know, what Beyonce said is, right up there, Bible, what Beyonce said. So listen to Beyonce, me, myself, and I. Learn to spend some time with yourself and enjoy your company so that you don't have to depend on others to have a good time.
So good. Yeah, I'm one of my best friends. So,
Hello. You got to be your first best friend. Like,
listen,
I be in the shower talking to myself, like, all right, girl, what we about to do today? Like, that's how I start my day.
it's so important. And so those are all the questions that I have. The last question that I ask everyone on the podcast is to share with me a random tidbit of information. I am the amateur expert and claim to know a little bit about a lot. So if you could please share something with me.
Okay. You know, I'm going to go back to estate planning because I am an estate planner.
I'm here for it.
All right. Here is something that most people do not know. Here's a little tidbit about estate planning. If you are a parent and you do not have a will, something happens to you, you need a will to be able to decide who raises your kids. Now, as
Ooh.
a new parent, let me tell you something I've learned. I am very careful about who is around me, but I am a beast
Mm-hmm.
about who is around my kid. So, if you, parent or not, if you love someone and if someone loves you, do an estate plan. And if you can't afford doing an estate plan right now, you can go to your bank and do a beneficiary designation. You can go to your life insurance, do a beneficiary designation. You can go to your retirement accounts, do a beneficiary designation, because if something were to happen to you, you want to make sure that the people who love you
Mm-hmm.
are not fighting with maybe people who don't love you but want to take advantage of what you have.
That was good. Drops mic. Thank you again so much for being on the show. If you could please share how people can get in contact with you, where they can find your workshops, and yes, the podcast,
Sure.
all of the things.
Yes. All right. Here are all the ways that you can find me and my loud self. Number one, I'm on Instagram. I try to post inspirational things on Instagram. I mostly post what I'm doing on Instagram, and that is my full name. I don't know why I put my full legal name on Instagram. I can't hide from the government. I can't hide from y'all. My name is Shakisha Morgan, Shakishamorgan. Yes, I have a very black name. So Shakisha Morgan on Instagram is a great way to find me. If you want to email me, it's Shakisha Esquire, all spelled out, at gmail.com. If you want to hire me, you can go to yourestateplanningattorney.com. And if you want to hear me babble about Jesus and how bomb he is and all the great ways that he makes sure that you are living your best life, you can find me at the Mary and Martha podcast, which is on Instagram, Mary and Martha podcast. Yes, those are all the ways to find me.
Perfect. Thank you again for doing this. This was great. I am going to be reposting anything that you post about your workshop because I think it's going to be a great, not experience, but you're going to share a lot of information with all of us. So I'm excited
I
about
will.
that.
Each
And
one, teach one.
thank you so much.
Thanks, Ashlee. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Talk to you soon.